Hi guys and welcome back. In today's video we're going to be installing and upgrading the engine and transmission mounts. I've got some mounts from 034 in this box, and in here we've got the OEM bolts all fully replaced because they're stretch bolts and they're only one-time use. These mounts look sick, like incredible. It's a shame that they're going in the engine bay, but to replace this mount you're going to be able to see this. And then the transmission mount is just underneath this tray here. So we're going to have to remove the airbox, the ECU maybe, and then that tray to get to it. So you won't be able to see that one. But here's the original OEM mount. And this is what we're going to be replacing it with. Alright, so first things first, get the airbox out. So the airbox is out. Underneath here is the transmission mount. You can just see the bolt here. It's 3. And then we're gonna have to take this off, take this cover off, possibly the ECU as well, to get to the 4 bolts at the back. So let's start taking that apart. These little pliers are awesome from Nitpacks. They've got this flat bit on the side just so that it prevents you from cutting any wires. So now we've got a better view of the transmission mount, which is here, these 3 big bolts, and then underneath this cover here is the other bolts attaching it to the chassis. So let's try and get that cover off. So at this point I have got the trolley jack underneath the transmission just so it holds it in place while I loosen the bolts. And these 4 bolts underneath the cover were super awkward. I put a couple of wobble sockets on the breaker bar and eventually I did manage to get them loose. So there's the OEM transmission mount. You can see, now I'm not sure if that's meant to happen, but I'm pretty sure that much movement is not good. And then compared to the new one, that ain't moving at all. Here are the new stretch bolts. In the end I used the longer hardware on the chassis side from 034 just because the mount is a little bit thicker than the OEM. Make sure I Loctite them. Alright guys, so we've got the transmission side in. It looks absolutely incredible. As you saw from before, the billet mounts are beautiful. It's a shame to put them in the engine bay, but it's going to make the engine bay look awesome. We're going to move on now to the engine side. One thing to note, it did come with some longer hardware. I did buy new stretch bolts, but they were too short, so I had to go with the 034 ones. Put thread lock on them, and I did 35 Newton meters of torque. There isn't any specs on the website or anything, but that's what I went with. Looked at a few things of other mounts and things like that, and that's what they seem to be going with, so we went for that. So let's get the engine side on. Okay, so I'm hoping this side's a bit easier. As you can see, it's right here. We just got to get this coolant bottle out of the way. There's a couple of clips here, and I think maybe down here, and then we can access the hardware, take it out. So let's get started. So as you can see, removing that was so much easier than the transmission side, and that's why I started on the transmission, so it was a little bit easier when I came to the second side. So what I'm going to do now, just give it a little clean up underneath where it's really hard to get to when the mount is in, and then we'll get to fitting it. So first I'm just putting all the bolts in by hand, just to make sure I've not cross-threaded anything. And then finishing it off with the ratchet. Finally we torque it down and then a 90-degree turn. Next the coolant bottle goes back in. So I've just finished. They look amazing. I did realise that I've missed two mounts on this side, on the transmission side, so I'm going to have to go back and redo that. Now here's the brackets that should be here and here, and they attach to this. So when I started putting this back in, I realised there was two screw holes not there. So what I'm going to do, they're the most awkward bolts as well. So what I'm going to do, because they're the most awkward bolts, I'm going to do it off camera and then show you the finished result when it's all finished. Alright guys, so it's the next day. I got the transmission side taken off again and put all the little brackets on so we could get this piece put in. A little bit dark, but you can see it just here, the plastic piece, and then the airbox pushes into that. The only thing that I did forget to do was mark the bolts with a paint pen to see if they twist at all or move, and unfortunately there's 4 bolts underneath here. Now we might be able to get to the front 2, but the back 2 I don't think we'll be able to get to. I'll try my best, but let's get that done. Okay, so we've marked with the paint pen on both sides. These 2 at the very back I haven't done, so if I ever take it back off I will remark them. But for now it looks great. I gave everything a bit of a clean up. Carbon's looking awesome. Alright guys, this is the first startup. First thing, not crazy rattly in here. Cold start done. When it first started, didn't feel any difference from the vibrations. Now, yes, there is a little bit more, but just sitting here, I don't think it's that bad. That's a good thing. Yes, there is a little bit more, but I'm happy with that. Okay, drive, not too bad. Normally reverse. Okay, so there's a little bit more through the steering wheel, vibration wise. Reverse, I think, is better. I can't get rid of that squeaking either. I'm not sure what that is in the front when I turn the wheel. If any of you guys know, help me out. Put it in the comments if you've got any suggestions what it could be and how to fix it. Definitely helped in reverse. Normally it would clunk a little bit and it would vibrate quite violently, especially when you actually went into, like, started reversing. But feels great. Let's put the window down. Alright, so we're in the car park. We can't give it too much of a rev, but we'll give it a little blip and see if it sounds any different. Maybe more crisp. Really impressive how it feels so far. Not too much noise, not too much vibration or anything like that. After the dog mode I put in was a lot of vibration. It was hard to get used to, but I am okay with it now. So thank you very much for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.